The Brandon Peters Show may contain explicit language and detailed plot points. For more information on the show, stay tuned to the end of the episode. And now, here's Brandon.
Welcome to Old Space Show. I'm Brandon, and always riding the shotgun with me is Tony Schaab. That's a seat, not a gun.
Yeah, close enough. We're here. We're flying through the motions here. We're doing our thing. We're good.
Yes, this series of Old Space Show will follow the exploits of a man in his car, the first season of Knight Rider. Today we are here to discuss the 18th episode, Chariot of Gold.
Oh, so dramatic. My goodness.
Or Chariots of Gold. Chariots of Gold, not God, right?
Close enough. Gold, God, it's, pretty
Yeah.
interchangeable. So.
I suppose so. Like, wow, I read that all dramatic. Yeah, Chariot of Gold. And
There
I read
it
it
is.
wrong.
All
so
right.
there we go.
Very good. Well, in this episode, Bonnie is given the honor of joining the Helios Society, whose members all have genius-level IQs. This, of course, is to Devin's chagrin, who was expecting a nomination himself, but he has to be content with honorary membership. However, it soon becomes clear that high-ranking members of the society are planning to ensure their own survival by committing the perfect crime. For this, they need to get their hands on Kit and to get rid of its driver, Michael Knight.
All right, this one is directed by Bernard L. Kowalski, written by William Schmidt, and starring David Hasselhoff, Edward Mulhare, Patricia McPherson, William Daniels, Theodore Bickel, George McDaniel, Lynn Topping, Sandy Helberg, and Garnett Smith. All right. So, this one, we have another organization that's tied to our organization, Knight Industries, or what's the flag?
Flag, yes.
Flag and Helios.
Helios.
But we open with a big action number, right? Because it's like the Jeep and Michael and the driver gets hit with some kind of dart, and it's like, oh.
Yeah, he's he's still conscious enough to be able to drive. I was a little confused if it was a rage kind of drug but then
Okay.
once Michael finally jumps over to his car and gets him to crash a little bit, then the doctor, the driver, still fights him, but then just passes out. It seems like a very Incredible Hulk type of thing where he's got this unlimited power, and then it just maxes out and it all goes away and he passes out. So
yeah. But it's all around this so there's Devin was expected to be inducted in the Helios, but it's Bonnie who took a test just to mess around and did really well on it, we're told. And it's this organization called Helios, but they seem to be having a problem with mysterious deaths.
This episode really tried. You could, I don't know. I would be very interested to hear a director's commentary or even a writer's room commentary on this one, because it felt like they had really big ideas that I'm not sure they knew how to get to script wise. The whole episode just kind of had this general feeling of disjointedness where you could tell that they were trying to drive to something big, but they just couldn't get it there. It felt like it always felt like they were just we were like one step behind the story almost. It was a very odd, very, very odd vibe to the episode, at least for me as a viewer. So.
Yeah, I agree, because there is a scene here. So the guy in the Jeep at the beginning, it's just Dr. Blah, 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 who is supposed to blah, 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 blah.
That's the one, yeah.
Yes, that guy. He gets murdered in the hospital, and it's a, your typical pillowcase or pillow suffocation, but it's kind of dark and really different for what we've seen from Knight Rider.
It's pretty casual, yeah. And I think they were trying to hammer home the fact that the Helios group, obviously. I mean, by this point, it's very clear that something is not right within the organization. I think they were trying to hammer home the fact that they are casually okay with, they are the ones that are murdering their own members, essentially, to get them out of the way of, whether they've discovered pieces of the plans and things like that. But yeah, it's a really weird string of plot to go down, because they had already established that this doctor had an unknown medicine in his system. Even Kit couldn't identify it, and Kit says he's got all 5,000 drugs on, the entire world's drug supply is on his databanks, and he can't identify this drug. And then this orderly comes in to essentially suffocate him. He puts a rag over the doctor's mouth, and then when the doctor opens his mouth, he drips some of this, I guess, what is meant to be this mystery drug onto the rag and drips it into his mouth, and then cat's dead. Simple, easy, done. Bye.
Flush it down. Yeah, it's just a really, the way it's presented is just like really creepy. Like, I imagine Knight Rider was probably a 8 o'clock drama or likely 9 o'clock drama, but this is like 10 o'clock at night drama type stuff. So
we're getting into CSI Vegas stuff here.
Right? Yeah,
we're getting into.
Yeah, I was like, okay. So, because I mean, for the most part, I would imagine Knight Rider is like intended for adults, but somewhat could skew to a family show somehow. It's kind of in that. It's kind of borderline there. But that kind of felt like, ooh, that's creepy. Like the lighting and everything, the angles, and with this one's kind of creepy. So Devin and Bonnie go to Helios, and he's got this sweet convertible. I'm like, where'd this come from? He's always in like town cars. Like Devin never drives. It's kind of weird. Got this like Maxwell Smart, early Get Smart red convertible flying down. I was like, okay.
Yeah, I don't know. I personally kind of read it. I don't know if they intended it this way, but I kind of read this because at this point, Devin believes that this is where he was given his honorary membership. The big cat from Helios came by and was like, "We got your test scores, and congratulations, Bonnie, you're in, you're a genius." And Devin, we want to give you an honorary membership. And obviously it's designed for Devin to be like, "Oh, great, fantastic." So I don't know if maybe he's recoiling a little bit of, well, if I can't be smart, at least I'll be cool. I don't know if that was the genesis for driving this car. Maybe not. I don't know. But
that makes sense. Yeah, I get that. Yes. Headcanon. There we go. We got it. And then, like, when we get to Helios, there's like we find there's this some of the diabolical plot. There's this Kit class that, like me, also owns Knight Rider Season 1 on Blu-ray or DVD. They were watching scenes from the previous episodes of the season. So I was like, oh, it's
it's as close as we get to a clip show maybe ever here in Knight Rider land here. So, but yeah, they're watching Kit do his things, and that's again something that I think probably read in the writer's room really well. They're like, oh, we're planting the seeds that people can solve this mystery and put it together. But at this point, I don't know if it's an editing thing or what, but at this point it's like, okay, they're doing this, but like we've already it's clear we're like in the first 5-10 minutes, and it's clear this is like an evil organization, something's not right. And obviously they're like scheming on Kit, which is fine, but why? Like the pieces don't get put together until way later, and not really through, like, I don't think it's something that the average viewer could suss out and be like, this is why they're doing it, and then the show validates it. It's like the show is just going to tell you when they're ready to tell you, bring the big twist in.
You ain't gonna solve this. Don't leave during the commercial break just yet. And then of course Michael's got to come to kind of investigate or do his bit over here, and he's got his best like Dallas cosplay jacket on. The show Dallas, not like the Cowboys, but
that's right.
Very oil tycoon-y looking, like he needed the hat, but he's sneaking around, and like this was I let Kit get away with a lot, but there's a door with like a dial padlock combination on it, and he radios Kit, and Kit is able to crack the lock, like crack the safe door. I'm like, it's not electronic.
You're right.
It's like your bike lock, your little dial, or your locker that you had at school. Do they
Yes,
still
there
have
should be
those at school
nothing.
for the
Yeah,
youngins?
yeah.
Like
I don't know. Yeah, there should be nothing in there that he should be able to manipulate from afar. Yes, I
right, yeah. I'm
agree.
like, I don't know about that kid, but okay, okay. He also gets put in this party where we have this like nerd guy, which is like the ultimate '80s '90s stereotype wandering around. That's a bit of a problem. But he ultimately discovers some evidence stuff, and I was cracking up during this scene because he's like finding stuff and saying it aloud. Like he finds a file. This is Barney Barstow. He's like Barney Barstow, and a VHS tape. Kit.
Yes,
Oh my
everything
god.
is very, very clearly laid out here. Again, this is the writers being trying
Yep.
to give you a mystery early on, and they're like, "Oh, maybe they won't get it. We should probably put this pretty flat out." So yes, but then once again, he takes the kit. I don't know if it's a VHS or a beta tape,
Right.
whatever tape it is. He pops it in, and you see the exact same clips that the class was watching of Kit earlier. So this is Kit in relatively standard. I mean, it's the flamethrower kit. It's the kit turbo boost jumping over a truck kit. So I mean, it's all very standard kit type stuff, which is
Yeah.
not nearly as exciting as like you said, what you're seeing in this episode, where he can undo. He can do locks from afar, and I think this is the first episode where Kit has a blood analyzer that when
Yeah.
when Michael is transporting the doctor to the hospital, he's
Right.
like he literally, not only is it a feature, there's a button that says blood analyzer, and you press it and it pops out, and you pop it on his wrist, and it gives you all the great computer graphics of blood pressure, 210
Yes.
over 140, all these ridiculous things that Kit can do. So
No, perfect. Yeah, absolutely. But he gets, caught and he has to go fight the guards with a chair, an uppercut from
yes,
the knees, a backhand punch.
very classic Michael Knight. Yeah. I mean, we established in like episode 3 that he knows
Yeah.
kung fu, right? He
Right?
really doesn't use it that much, but he knows it. So
Yep, because he's trying to get he like finds Bonnie like in her room on top of her sheets with her clothes on and groggy, and he takes her. They're driving away, and like she pulls a gun on him, and I was like, oh, that actually caught me by surprise. I'm like, wait, what? I know she's not gonna be bad in the end, but what's going on here? But mind control. That's what this all
yes.
leads to. Is they're doing mind control, and Bonnie is under mind control, I guess.
So we have a lot more vague medical, like wonder drugs that have never been, mind control drugs, and even I think the bad guy says it. He's like, "Well, you've seen what our other drug can do, and this is our new drug." Like he's like, it's very like spelled out. I think the bad guy even says he's like, I can tell you this because it won't matter. Doing the very classic villain, like we're gonna kill you soon anyways in a practically foolproof way. We're not gonna shoot you right now, but we're gonna kill you, or we're gonna give it our best try anyways.
Right.
So
Yeah. Right. Yeah. Because Michael's clued in when he's going through Bonnie's file and sees it, like her test, and it says fail on it, like the
that's
circle
right.
red failed. Like I figured that would have been like a computer graded thing, but I guess
Yeah,
not.
no, this is all by hand.
All
So
by hand. And then so like they faked Bonnie passing the test so because they wanted Kit. So like yeah, they want her to reprogram Kit, which she does, and meanwhile, to kill Michael, they're going to throw him in a giant hole and then smash him with the crane, like not bury
so
him, just like,
right.
and he just like
So convoluted. Well, first they pour a little dirt on him, but then he
a
just
little,
stands up, and they're like, "Oh, I guess we better smash him." Like it's a really bad plan.
yeah, and he just like climbs up it and like beats the dude. But I do like this dude Stark is his name. We have like just a goon in this. I love it. Like he just shows up to do the dirty work everywhere.
Yes, everything's so generic in this episode. You've got your goon Stark,
Yeah.
you got your typical nerd wearing the plaid stuff, and I forgot to mention earlier when you were referencing this cat. I didn't know this until I read some trivia about it, but that's actor. The actor is Sandy Helberg. Sandy Helberg is the father of Simon Helberg, who plays Howard Wolowitz on The Big Bang Theory. So like father, like son in the nerdy role connection there. So
that's crazy.
Yes.
Oh, that's great. That's yeah. I saw the name Hellberg, and I was like, all right, and then
Yeah,
boom, there we go.
there it is.
So yeah, Kit gets ready. They go to like some office park mall thing in the finale, um, but Michael is able to talk Kit down and be like, what is my name? What is yeah? So talks him
Yeah, we get
down.
the very classic. Yeah, we get the very classic. Like you know me. Like I'll break through the power with our the power of our friendship. Will override any sort of mind control, even for a
Right.
computer. Yeah, the power of friendship conquers all. So, aw.
It's dumb, but I did like. So we were like an actual civilization here. There was like traffic in the background, and
Yeah.
it wasn't just like desert road with like a building or way out in the boonies type stuff like you normally get on Knight Rider. They actually like had a parking lot. Probably had a guy directing traffic for the set. So I was like, oh, okay, pretty cool.
Yeah, I see a lot. We see a lot of that here, and in the next episode as well. They do a lot of like city driving, and
Yeah.
there's one point, not to get too far ahead, but there's one point in the next episode where like Michael Kit's parked on the side of the street, and Michael like hops in like from the end of an office. It's like an office building, and they like
Mhm.
take off, and there's like a van driving right next to them. I swear they
Yeah.
were going to get into an accident. Like I'm like, geez, oh Pete, let's calm it down here.
Calm it down. Yeah. Um. Right. So they wind up the diabolical Helios plan is foiled. And then our end tag scene has Michael playing butler to Bonnie, and he delivers her a dish, and it has a single yellow rose on it, which folks that equals friendship. So
Ooh, yes.
sorry, benight stands.
Ugh,
Did not happen. So
bummer.
that's our yeah Chariot of Gold episode. I will say, I always like when there's more Bonnie and they're getting involved, having her be evil for a bit. But the set that was for majority of this, that like castle mansion thing, was really cool. That felt
Yeah,
different.
and I think that gets reused in the fourth season, third or fourth season. I think this set is redressed or
Okay.
used for a different location as well. But yeah, in this episode, not as much. I felt like too in this episode was not as much forced comedy. You know,
Yeah.
I think in several episodes there's comedies laid on a little thick. In fact, I know there was from some research there was a cut scene, cut from the final episode where Michael was taking the Helios exam and he was told to use every resource at his disposal as when they gave him the test. So like you can use every resource at your disposal. So he gets on his little thing with Kit and gives Kit to get him all to give him all the so he aces it. But I guess they thought that was too cheesy with the obviously with Bonnie ended up failing and things like that.
Right.
They didn't too much confusion in the Helios test, I guess. So they got rid of it. So
Gotcha. Yeah, this is a weird episode because like I like enjoyed it, but I didn't think it was that good. I don't know. It was
yeah,
weird. It was weird.
yeah, it kind of goes on with the theme. I've kind of had that theme throughout my rewatch of
Yeah.
like even the not the greatest episodes are still really engaging. Like I find Hasselhoff to be really kind of he's not the greatest actor in the world, but he's very engaging. He's definitely
This is
this is
perfect
a
for
role
him.
that I
This is
think was
yeah.
meant for him. Just the mere aspect of Kit being Kit, I think, is always going to be an engaging thing. Like even to this day, with our smart cars, like Kit is smarter and does more than those cars, obviously.
Right.
So there's a lot to love, even if the storyline sometimes leaves a bit to be desired. So
Yeah. That perfectly encapsulates it, yeah. But so Tony, with that, let's shift gears and look onto the sunset before we hit the horizon. Where can people keep up with you?
oh yeah, you can always come find me anywhere on the internet at Tony Schaab on the Twitter, on the Instagram. You can visit my personal website at tonyschaab.com, or you can come find me over on sciencefiction.com, where I'm the senior editor and do all sorts of fun reviews and news and op-ed articles and just talk about all things geeky.
All right, hashtag HelioNo. And I'm on Twitter and Instagram at Brand4KUHD, written work at whysoblue.com. Next week, we'll have the Tony and I are back, but the Scream retrospective will conclude with Jessica, Greg, and I talking Scream 6. So that will not be Monday, but it will be coming either Thursday or Friday next week after Tony and I talk, because just scheduling and whatnot. But that's then. Come back for Knight Rider next week. From Old Space.
Brandon and Tony, not so lone crusaders in a dangerous world. The world of Old Space Show.
Thank you for listening. The Brandon Peters Show is a Creative Zombie Studios production. Produced by Brad Shoemaker and Brandon Peters. Written and edited by Brandon Peters. Announcer vocals by Jessica Alsman. Theme song by Metavari. Web design and show art by Brad Shoemaker with Brandon Peters. All music and clips featured in the episode are property of their respective studios, and no infringement is intended. Additional information on this and other episodes at BrandonPetersShow.com. For any inquiries, press opportunities, or sponsorship, contact mail at BrandonPetersShow.com. The show is available on Apple Music, Spotify, or anywhere podcasts are found.